How's it going, everybody? Welcome to my channel and thank you for watching my video. Before we get into the topic, I want to go ahead and remind everybody that there will be discussion timestamps in the video description, so that way if you want to bounce around between the different things that we're going to be discussing in this video, please do so as you wish. And there's also going to be a link to the website that I'm getting this information from, also available in the video description, so that way if you want to be able to take a look at it yourself, aside from what I'm going to be talking about in this video, you can use that as you wish. So today's video is going to be going over very important Horadric cube recipes that I think every single Diablo 2 player should know. A lot of this for veteran players is not going to be groundbreaking or much of news, but for someone like me, I just got back into Diablo 2 and I knew quite a few of the actual recipes, but not to the extent that I'm going to go over today. And especially a lot of them are going to be really, really helpful if you're in the latter half of, like, for example, Nightmare going into Hell, and especially Gold's going to start to get a little bit harder to find, or things are going to be a lot more expensive. So you want to make sure that you have a lot of these recipes ready to be used, so that way you can be able to salvage any gold that you have. And also it's just going to be a lot more helpful, especially if you have a lot of extra runes laying around that you can use for these recipes, especially like the recharging of charges, being able to repair your weapons, adding sockets. I mean, there's all kinds of different things that will be put into perspective when it comes to the Horadric cube recipes that we'll go over. And so I've broken it down by category. So the very first one is going to be the jewelry cube recipes, which are going to be, for the first one, is going to be, I'm not going to go, and also before we even jump in, I'm not going to be doing every single one of these recipes. Some of them are going to be, I'd rather just explain it than to actually use certain runes to be able to make this happen, because some of them are a little bit more expensive and I don't necessarily need to be able to do that. But I'll try to do as many of them as I can, as long as I have the wealth to be able to do it. So the first one is 6 perfect gems, one of each type, and a magical amulet, and it gives you a prismatic amulet. So let's go to here. I think it's page. Okay, so we have, okay. It would give you all resistances from 16 to 20, with the possibility of a suffix at the end. So I know this one, it's only 11, but it maybe be able to give you something like this, like an inner sight added to it, and then maybe a faster cast rate. And I mean, these are ones that I just collected as I played the game, and I just started organizing a lot better because my stash was just atrocious. So for this one, 3 minimum damage, all resistances. These ones are not cubed. Again, I found them, but it would give you stuff like this. So that way you can be able to better utilize your resistances and kind of free up a little bit of play for your rings, for different gear, but that's going to be a prismatic amulet. So the second one is going to be a magic ring, perfect emerald, an antidote potion makes a jade ring, which is poison resistance from 21 to 30. Or the third one is going to be magic ring, perfect ruby, exploding potion makes a gamet ring, which is fire resistance 11 to 30, with, again, suffix at the end, possibility. And then you have the fourth one, which is magic ring, perfect topaz, rejuvenation potion equals a core ring, which is lightning resistance from 21 to 30. And then you have magic ring, perfect sapphire, thawing potion, which makes a cobalt ring for cold resistance 21 to 30, with possibility of a suffix at the end of that. So the next ones are going to be, because I do have the ability to make these. Let's see, genuine mustache. Oh, just this guy. So let's do, I'll leave you here. Okay, so this one's going to be, for example, because I always have a collection of just terrible rings. They're easy to sell. I keep a couple of stash pages. Aside from these, I keep a couple stash pages of things that I can sell to kind of get myself more gold. But you would do, for this recipe, 3 rings, doesn't matter what they are, and then you put them together and it makes a new amulet that's rolled randomly. So this one actually is pretty good for life, 65. So let's go ahead and we'll leave that here because I don't need that. So we'll get 2 more ammies, doesn't really matter. So let's see, this, there we go. And then if you do it reverse, 3 amulets for a ring, you get a random roll of a new ring, which this is absolute trash. So those ones, for example, I used to have literally just pages upon pages. Let me see, I have, like, for example, my jewels that I use for crafting, but I mean, I have pages upon pages of just jewels, and this is where it separates for, like, some of the better ones. So there's a few, but I used to have just rings upon rings upon rings upon rings of just ones that I would be ready to sell. And so this would be a great thing for if you're trying to free up some space. If you don't want to sell them all, but you want to be able to use them for crafting purposes, you can make new amulets and jewels out of them. So that way you can utilize them. So, socketing weapons and armor. So let's go to... Okay, so we'll take... Oh, these are all socketed already. Okay, so we'll take a crystal sword. So that way if I want to make a spirit, we'll see if we can do it. So the first one is going to be a Horadric. Okay. Then we have an amrune and a perfect amethyst. Okay, putting this together, and then you have your normal weapon. It cannot be a magic weapon for this particular recipe. There's different recipes for different types of bases, but for just a regular base, and it is going to be white. It's going to have a white name. So, for example, look at the crystal sword. It's white. It's not gray, which already means it would be. So it can't be something like this where it's kind of gray on the top, or it's looking more like see-through. You don't want to have something like that because obviously you already have sockets, and you can't like re-socket a socketed weapon. So you have your regular base. You can have, for example, the have a white labeled name, and then be like increased durability, increase something. As long as it's the name of it still comes up as white and it doesn't come up as blue for magic, this works. Then you have Horadric, amrune, perfect amethyst, and what it's going to do is it's going to randomly roll sockets. So for whatever the base would be able to allot, like if a base was to allot only 3 sockets, you'd have a 1 in 6 chance for 1, 1 in 6 chance for 2, sorry, tongue twister, and then you have 4 in 6 for 3, because if, for example, I'm not saying the crystal sword is 3, but if it, whatever base you're using, if it has a max of 3, you would have 3 sockets would be 1 of 3, 4 sockets would roll down to a 3, 5 sockets would roll down to a 3, and then 6 sockets will roll down to a 3, because it would only go to the max, and anything over the max, it defaults to its max. So it would be a 4 out of 6 chance for 3, 1 out of 6 chance for 1, 1 6 chance for 2. So this one, let's see what the roll is. So it's an absolute just garbage base because it only has 1, so it's not going to be of any use for me. But that is how you add sockets to a weapon. And so I skipped over the body armor. So let's see if I actually have any body armor to use. Probably have to go to my oh, here we go. Let's see. So we have, so we'll do this. And for body armor, it's going to be Horadric. What's the, oh, perfect topaz. So we'll just grab it from here. So it's going to be Tal, Thol, Tal, Thol, and then you have, again, so for example, this one, because it's ethereal, this would be one of those that it's the exception for it having a gray or like a transparent see-through name, and it would still roll, and this is where you would get your ebugged 50% defense bonus because it is ethereal. So this is where you're going to utilize, you don't want to go to Horadric and socket quest it, because Horadric will add the max sockets no matter what it is. So if an item has a maximum of 4 sockets, with the Horadric cube, you'd have a 1 in 3 chance for 1, 2, and 3, and then you'd have 50-50 chance, so 3 out of 6 for 4 sockets. But this one, again, it's going to roll randomly, but you would be able to add a 50% bonus when you would not get that from Horadric. So, oh, my bad. There we go. So let's see what it is. 2. So again, you saw before, I think it was like 172, and now it's going to be 258. So this would be something that you could roll like a stealth in or smoke or something like that. So this is actually really, really good base for smoke for one of my characters. So I will definitely be using that. So let's see where I got it from. I think it was in the 30s, just after the runes. Yep. So we'll keep this here. Cool. And so that's how you add sockets to an armor. And then for a helm, the sockets would be Ral Rune, Full Rune, Perfect Sapphire, and then just a regular normal helm. And for a shield, it's going to be Talrune, Amrune, Perfect Ruby, and then just a regular normal shield, which will add sockets to the shield as well. And so the next thing we're going to go over, because those are just socketings, now we're going to do upping armors. So this is going to be, let's see, if you were to have, for example, I'll do a couple of runs, because why not? And I'll show you one that I did actually up as well. If you find a low quality armor and you want to, I don't have the Alibaba. Oh well. I usually swap it right now and just let my mercenary just kill Tyndall. But, oh well, no big deal. So if you have a low quality weapon and you want to up it, especially if, for example, it ends up like in Hell, it's a good base, but it's obviously the quality that you don't want, and it only is for low quality. It's not going to be something like for cracked or anything like that. You can use the recipe Eldrune, chipped gem, doesn't matter which one it is, and put the low quality weapon in the cube, and then it will make it a normal quality weapon. So that way you would be able to use it and possibly add sockets to it if you would like. When it comes to armor, it would be an Elrune, chipped gem, doesn't really matter which one, and then your low quality armor, and then that will make it to where it goes up to a normal base. So that way you can add sockets to it if you want, or just use it for, oh, damn it, there should have been anything else besides that. But it's just stuff that's really useful for your playthrough, especially if you're kind of, you're not in a situation where you can get better armor, which obviously you should be able to, but in the case of you find a good base and it's just not the quality you want, and you have the ability to make it better, that would be how you do so. So the next one will be, let's see, let's go over that way. I can actually read it without. Okay, so Ral Rune, Soul Rune, Perfect Emerald, and then a normal unique weapon will make it an exceptional version of that weapon. So we have two different versions of the exact same weapon. So this is a unique General's 10 Do Liga flail. And so I decided to, for the Barbarian, because it has slows target by 50%, I wanted to up the item because it doesn't do much damage compared to what I actually wanted it to do. I wanted to do a little bit more. And so what I did was I used the recipe Ral Rune, Soul Rune, Perfect Emerald, and made it exceptional. And that's what made it to where you can see here the what you would actually need for it as far as the dexterity, the strength, is going to be a lot higher because the base, you're not changing any of the stats on it, because if you look at it, it's still very fast, 20% increased attack speed. So none of the actual mods on it stay, or none of them change. They all stay pretty static. And then you look at the base itself, it has to go up because as you make a weapon better, the requirements go up as well. So you have from 35 dexterity to 73, and you have 41 strength to 82, and the level even goes up too. So this one would be 21, whereas this one would be 30. So it's really, really helpful, and for certain characters it will be better to up items. Some of them it won't really matter because you're not going to be using it for damage purposes, if I can put that any better way. I used it for the slow target, but I also wanted to be able to do damage as well. And 2 to 56 was unfortunately just not enough, so I went ahead and upped it. So let's see. Here we go. So we'll go ahead and do this. So we have Ral rune. Where's all my soul rings? There we go. I just finally put them in order of L to Zod, which I don't know how to have a Zod, but it's taking me a little bit to kind of get used to it. So, perfect emerald. So now I can finally use these things for something. Okay. Take the lollipop out. Or can I just dump you for it? You'll be where the other new ones are. Okay, so now we have just a regular base, General's Flail, Emerald, Soul, Ral. I'm really bad at that. I can stop you. There you go. So now it's an upped base, but it's still the exact same mods. It's not going to change. It's not going to go up by any means necessary. So this is now an upped weapon. Let's see if I have the wealth to make it elite. So I do, but I'm not going to use those runes because I don't have very many of them as of right now. But at least just for demonstration purposes, that is how you would up a weapon. Yep, that's it. So next thing we're going to go over, exceptional version, normal unique armor.
Not here.
Which, let's see, do I have one? So. Let's see. Yeah, let's just do it. Screw it, why not? So we have, where is Tal? Shale, and then perfect diamond. So again, it's just going to change the base, and the defense should go up. There you go. So now it's a much higher strength requirement. As you saw when I upped it, the background of the actual armor went red because I can no longer equip it with the strength that I have right now. But the defense went up, and because of that, the strength went up, and the level requirement went up as well. So that is upping armor. So let's see, what else do we have? So exceptional version of weapon, armor. I'm not going to make anything elite because I'm not trying to use a pull or a lum rune for this. I'd rather use it for better things. But if you're going to make an elite version of a weapon, it will be a lum rune, a pull rune, perfect emerald, and then the exceptional weapon. And then for armor, it's going to be a ko rune, lem rune, a perfect diamond, and then the exceptional unique armor as well. And then for rares, picking a exceptional rare weapon is going to be an ort rune, an am rune, a perfect sapphire, and then the normal basic rare weapon, and that'll shoot it up to an exceptional rare weapon. Then we have armor is going to be Ral, full, perfect amethyst, and then your normal basic rare armor. That'll make it exceptional. And then to make it elite, you're going to be using foul, perfect sapphire, and exceptional rare weapon makes it elite. Then ko, pull, and perfect amethyst is your exceptional rare armor. With that, it's going to make it to an elite rare armor. Now it's going to be the repairing and recharging. And I'm going to show you just how bad it can be when it comes to something like, for example, if you ever get like a teleport staff and you're trying to just get through the game a lot faster, you only have a limited amount of those charges. It makes it so much harder when you don't have a lot now. So it's not that one. There we go. Okay. So going through the charges. So let's go ahead and equip this guy so that way I can show you just how ridiculous the cost on this is going to be. There we go. That's why I wouldn't take it. Okay, so let's go ahead and go. I was trying to go to the Pandemonium Fortress, but okay. Looking at this. So, yep. And so it does have, for example, Firestorm, Holy Bolt, Decrepify, and Teleport. But you get the idea. This is why I was saying earlier, it's really important to be able to utilize these recipes so that way you can avoid something like this. Because I do have the wealth to repair it. However, I'm not going to waste gold on it because this is something that you could easily fix with just, I think, 2 items in the cube, and it's not very expensive at all. So let's go ahead and look here. So put this back. Put these here. Okay, so if you want to have a fully repaired and recharged weapon, it is really cheap. So there's no point in wasting a lot of gold for something like that. And then we need Ort Rune, Chipped Gem, so it should not matter which one. So let's see which one I have a lot of. There you go. So we'll just use Sapphire. So for example, you have all these charges. Ort, Chipped Gem, there you go. Now it's 100%. So you would be able to do a lot of recharging, because this is actually what I'm going to start using for some characters, because I don't have Enigma on any character, and so I want to be able to teleport. And I have, as you saw, I collect every single gem that I come across. It does not matter if it is perfect or just chipped. It does not matter. I collect them for a reason, to make sure that I can use them for anything that I need. And so this is one of those that it comes in a lot of handy. So that's going to be the repair, and it also not just recharges, but it repairs the full durability as well. So if you look, durability 35 out of 35. I'm not sure what it was before, but it does repair it. So when it comes to body armor, we're going to be using, when it comes to repairing it, we're going to use a Ral Rune, and I'm going to eventually use this. My sorceress just haven't had a chance to put it into her stash yet. So we have a Ral Rune, then you have your base. As you can see, the durability is 18 of 24. You're going to transmute, and now your durability is back to full. So it's 24, 24. And then, so we did the weapon, we did the armor, and the armor, or then the weapon itself would just be Ort Rune plus the weapon. We did the Ort Chip Gem is recharge and repair, so that one was pretty easy. And then if you have something that has charges on your armor, you would use a Ral Rune and then a flawed gem with your base, or whatever the armor would be, and it will recharge and repair as well. I had a Blade of Alibaba. Find the stupid thing. Anyway, I accidentally, because I was very ignorant, not ignorant, but I was very naive. I was not aware that you can't just put, because I was putting other things, because I was putting perfect topazes in, like, for example, this and this, to be able to get better magic find. And so I was not aware that, there it is. I was wondering where you were. So I'll put this over here. I decided to put it in that Blade of Alibaba that you see. And so it did not work like I thought it was going to do. And so that was a mistake I made, and I had to be able to take those perfect topazes out. And I'm going to be putting Istrins in them, in either a 6-socketed phase blade or in those two, if I ever come across them. But what you would do is, if you want to take out the items in the sockets, it would be a Hell Rune, Swirl Town Portal, and then any socketed weapon. And what it'll do is it's going to take out what was socketed in there. However, whatever was in there, like for example my perfect topazes, they're destroyed. They're gone. You cannot use them again. But you do have now open sockets, so you can put other things inside of there if you would like. And then the very last thing, I think this is probably everyone's most fun thing to use their Horadric cube for, because it is a lot of fun. So then, and you can only do this when you've actually just completed the difficulty that you're in. So for example, I'm still in Nightmare. For him, I can be in Hell, but I choose to stay back so that way I can, 1, level up, and 2, I can now farm cows. So that's what this is for. And so that's, I think, arguably one of the most fun things that you can do with the Horadric cube. And most people are always super excited to be able to actually play cows. So let's see. So I know where the cow king's at. And what's nice is if you have Pluggy, you can actually just repetitively kill the cow king over and over and over and over, and it's not going to actually do anything to you. So, or it's not going to do anything as far as like keeping you from being able to open it up again. It's just every single time that you play, you'll have to reopen the portal, which is why I went and farmed tons of Wart's Leg. So let's see. Bear's about to die, which is fine. Should we cast him? Now, where is this Cow King at? Let's see what I can get from him. So where are you at? Oh, there he is. I think it was only players 1, but so nothing really exciting on his drop, but that's it. That's it for Horadric Cube recipes. It was a little bit lengthier than I expected it to be, but I hope you guys got something out of this and are able to enjoy your playthrough of Diablo 2 even more from being able to utilize some of these recipes, especially if you're wanting to save on gold when it comes to repairing, recharging, stuff like that. But I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.